All right. So the first thing I need to do let me see if that helps. Where are we getting that technology from? And why can't I take it out? That's not the image that I want. All right, so we're gonna change that. Let's see. I can't. It's not in there. Virtual background. It's actually choosing this background. Mic check. All right, we're gonna get this about I'm gonna get this about 35 more seconds. I'm gonna get to the 10-minute mark, and then I'm just gonna kick into it. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is a live stream with your boy, Technology. My channel name is Peabody's Laboratory. It has been changed. We're going to be focusing on some different things in 2021. But if you're being notified of this video, you probably already know that. I'm going to get right down to it. I don't normally do talking live streams. I don't normally do open mics. But I felt like tonight one needed to be done. Now, we've seen, or we probably are aware of, the incredible numbers that this country has had to grapple with thanks to this pandemic. We've got record unemployment and just a sickening, an astoundingly sickening number, of unnecessary death in this country due to the lack of a proper response from our government leaders who were fully aware of the extent of this pandemic, or should I say of this virus, at an early stage. So much so that they went ahead and invested in the pharmaceutical companies and the medical delivery systems and everything else necessary to prepare and deliver a vaccine and get rich in the process. But we're not talking about that tonight. The main thing I want to talk about tonight is real simple. In a little while, if it hasn't already happened already, Congress, first the House, and then the Senate, they're going to vote on a $900 billion stimulus package. And stimulus should be put in quotes. This package allows for $300 a month unemployment benefits. But before, it was $600 a month. This stimulus package allows for $600 direct checks to recipients who received $1,200 in the previous stimulus check go round. I have yet to hear of any breakdowns. Like the last time it was 1,200 if you made this much, it was 600 if you made this much. I have yet to hear anyone speak about the breakdown of this, this measly $600 stimulus. And I say $600 stimulus because I just read 885,000 people in America, 885,000 Americans applied for first-time unemployment benefits last week. We are not producing new jobs. In the last 2 months, the projected job rate had to be corrected down. So we're not even creating the jobs that we are lying to the people and saying that we're creating. But these people know, because if you look on the news, and I don't care what news you look on, maybe some channels don't cover it, but enough channels do. So you understand the magnitude of the suffering there is in this country right now. Food banks are just running out of food, trying to give people the bare necessities that they need to survive. The other day I came home and I could not get down the street in my car because traffic on the other side and the intersections were basically blocked solid. Turns out that there is a foreign legion near my house, and they were handing out a little bit of food. They're not a food bank. Maybe it was just donations from their members. Maybe they coordinated with a store or stores in the community. I don't know. What I know is that this is a small foreign legion. And somehow in southwestern Pennsylvania, which is really, really Trump country down here, let me tell you, I might as well be in West Virginia or Ohio. That's how bad it is where I live. But these people were these folks, regardless whether they are Trump supporters, Biden supporters, whether they're independent, whether they voted or didn't vote, they're in line. Somehow they knew about this food being available and got up and made sure that they were there to get in line to get some food handouts. Now, if that's happening in southwestern PA, Trump country, coal country, steel country. Remember, we were going to bring coal back? We were going to bring steel back? Remember all those beautiful, outlandish promises that he made? Now, for some people, that might have sounded real good. But I'm a little bit older. I'm 55 years old. I'm 55 years young. Let me correct myself. But you go around the block a couple of times and you learn. I work with a lot of, should I say, younger generation. It doesn't matter what generation. Let's just say they're younger than me. Okay. I don't really run into a lot of younger people who are willing to work hard physically, okay? Who are willing to go home with sore muscles and sore feet and tired and cramping hands every day to earn that paycheck to support their families. So my first question was, how are you going to bring coal back? Who is going to work a coal job? The older generation is already in the field, probably leaving the field because it's been so dead. Do you expect younger people to work coal? Did that make sense? But, it's the kind of story that was sold in southwestern PA, and everyone bought it. It's Trump country. Cool. But by the same token, now the same Trump country is hungry. Our coronavirus exposure is rapidly increasing. Southwestern PA was doing really, really, really good. We had numbers way lower than Allegheny County, where Pittsburgh is, up until around Thanksgiving. And then everything changed, not just in Southwestern PA, but pretty much across the CONUS, which is continental US. Everyone is seeing a spike right now because we relaxed. We didn't bother trying to follow any rules. It was like, F the rules. It's Thanksgiving. I'm going to see Auntie. I want, you know what I'm saying, my stuffing and gravy. Only Auntie can make the stuffing and gravy like that. I'm going to see Auntie. I gotta go see Mama. I gotta go see Nana. Okay, that was your choice. And you went and you made your family visits. And now we're spiking across the country. We have cities right now that are running out, if they have not already run out, of ICU beds. We are at a point where we are setting up what I would call MASH units. And if you guys don't know anything about the MASH TV show or how the U.S. military operated, say like in Vietnam or whatever, MASH stands for a military surgical hospital. Okay? We are literally setting up ICU wards in temporary locations to handle the overflow, not just of coronavirus patients. There is no stimulus yet. Hello, Snowcone72. Welcome to the chat. No, I know there is no stimulus yet. I know that they are going to vote on it soon. They will probably pass it, but it is, to me, it is not a stimulus. I don't know how you feel about that. $600 when before it was $1,200 for personal direct payments. $300 in unemployment benefits per week when before it was $600. So just those two marks were cut in half. Then we gave no assistance to the cities whose budgets have been busted trying to deal with the coronavirus with little to no help from the U.S. government. So I came on by saying, is this really a stimulus? And Snowcone, if you're here in the chat, I want to ask you, do you think this is a stimulus? And will it help you? Snowcone is no longer in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. He came in. I guess he didn't like what he heard, but it's okay. Because this, like I said, this is open mic. He could have come up. I would have sent him the link. That's fine. It's all good. This is not for anyone to agree or disagree. I just want to hear your opinion. Is this really going to help you? Do you think this is enough? How do you feel about Speaker Pelosi? Should she have held out? Was this better than nothing? Or is this really an insult? Because if you can remember, up until about 96 hours ago, maybe a little bit, maybe about 5 days. Okay, so maybe about 120 hours. Mitch McConnell, Speaker, the Senate Majority Leader, he had no palate for any sort of direct payments to the American taxpayer. He had no palate for it. He didn't want it in there. It wasn't until he started getting feedback from Georgia indicating that Perdue and Loeffler were getting torched at their campaigns and we had this is the runoff election coming up on January the 5th, and they were having their, their rallies or whatever, they were getting torched because they were holding the party line. And the Republican Party line at that moment was, we are not giving direct payments in this stimulus. So is it a stimulus? They weren't even going to do direct payments, but lo and behold, oh wait, we need to win these seats and our guys are getting killed. Let's go ahead and I won't even call it a peace offering. It's like the Bible said, the crumbs from the master's table. They basically shook off their tablecloth and their napkin, threw some crumbs at the people, and it's gonna be gobbled up. Don't get me wrong, because the people are hungry. But this is not a meal. This is not stimulus. This is not help, not in my opinion. This is them being able to say, well, you can't say we didn't do anything for you. But when what you're doing for me and my people is close to nothing, you don't have the right to say you did anything. That's my opinion anyway. This is not helpful. States are still going to be suffering. There are going to be furloughs. There are going to be layoffs. Okay? Already we got teachers trying to do homeschooling, teach over the internet in the inner city. Kids don't even have decent computers. And guess what? Some of these teachers are soon going to lose their job. It might be February, it might be March. But mark my word, we're going to have teachers, firemen, police officers. They're going to be furloughed. They're going to be laid off because their cities, their municipalities cannot afford to pay them. And there's no stimulus, there's no money in this quote unquote stimulus for that. Now I think about the tax cut that was given to the rich when Trump first took over as president. And even now, if you look at the stock market, you see the stock market is steadily gaining. Rich people are getting richer. So if there's so much money to go around, why is it so hard to help the average Joe Blow American? Just little John Q. Public, that dude, Jane Doe, that girl. Why can't we help these people? Why do the rich always get bailed out and then get handouts? But us regular folk, we gotta struggle. We gotta find ways to make it work. How many people in here have learned the value of flour? Flour. Because you can make some things with flour. You can make dumplings. Okay, you can basically make lots of different bread products. But flour is helpful. It's not just something you batter your food with before you fry it. You can use flour to do a lot of different things. People are beginning to have to return to staples like beans and rice, and standard stuff. Things that we've been doing in the ghetto pretty much as long as I can remember. How do you know you came from the ghetto? Well, let me see. I don't know. Did you ever have a syrup sandwich when you was growing up? You ever had your mom take 2 slices of bread and just put a little syrup in between it? Give that as a sandwich? Anybody in here ever eat a ketchup sandwich? Anybody in here ever eat a butter sandwich? Small stuff. Just little bitty things. Did you ever go to school to gym and didn't have no gym shoes? Did you and your siblings have to rotate clothes to go to school? Did he wear the jeans one day and you wore the corduroy, and then vice versa? You know, with maybe 2 or 3 nice school shirts between the two of you. I'm just making up numbers, but there are people out there who understand exactly what I'm saying. So we understand hard times. We've been going through hard times long before there was a pandemic, long before we had this terrible economic downturn, and we've had many. We've been struggling off rip for as long as, basically, for as long as we've been alive. Most of us, anyway. So I'm sitting here paying attention, and I'm looking up and I'm seeing, oh yeah, we're gonna vote on this stimulus tonight. And I'm like, stimulus? Now, stimulus is a noun. Okay? A stimulus is a thing that stimulates. That's the verb. That's the action word. Okay? Stimulate. Is this going to stimulate your household? Is this going to help your household make it 2 weeks? How many people here, your rent is higher than $600? My rent is, and I'm just in a small apartment, but my rent is higher than $600. A $600 personal stimulus check wouldn't even pay my rent. Not to mention any utilities that I have. It wouldn't even cover the rent. So it's not stimulating my household. And I've learned to live pretty poor. I've learned to make sure I keep things down. I don't try to grow quickly because there's always a downturn, always a downturn. And I'm always looking out and trying to be prepared for that. So I kept things at a pace where when money dried up, I wasn't hurting too bad. But not everybody does that. Think about that for a second and I'll be right back. I'm gonna stay in the BG, but I'm back on the mic. So I know it's early. I purposely came on early. I have so many other content creators who are soon going to be in their grind. And there's just, I can't compete with the big guys, you know? So I wanted to come on a little early and do something a little different because this is really bothering me. It really is. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. And I think that there are a lot of people out there who are frustrated also. Now, I had one visitor to the chat. He was here for about 60 seconds, if that. This is his comment. There is no stimulus yet. That's it. And then he left the chat. Upset that there's no stimulus yet? Do you consider what they are about to sign off on the stimulus? Will it help you? I would have loved for you to come up or to stick around and just type into the chat and speak your mind. But we had a drive-by comment. It's cool. And maybe he will not agree with my point of view and he may want to unsubscribe to the channel, and that's fine too. I'm not trying to hold anybody. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm not here to change any minds. I'm not here for donations. I'm here tonight, rather than playing my Borderlands, I'm here for about another 48 minutes just to talk about this craziness that's going on in Congress. And worse, the craziness that's going on in America. I'm trying to stick to the stimulus or lack thereof and not spin off into the insanity going on in the White House. I don't even really want to talk about it. It's just insane. I'll just say this. Anytime a former military officer is a convicted felon and is allowed and is invited back to the White House to counsel a sitting president, I just want those words to resonate for a minute. A convicted felon was allowed to visit the White House to counsel a sitting president. I promise you, no one else will ever be able to say that statement after this presidency. They wouldn't even be able to form the thought anymore. And yet, this is what we have going on. And so many, many more things. But I digress. I'm going to get back to where I was. I'm here to talk about this lack of stimulus. Now, as I was saying, my rent is more than $600. As a matter of fact, if I was to try to buy groceries for a month and pay my utilities, $600 wouldn't cover that either. So what exactly is $600 doing? A $600 individual payment. I'm going to tell you what it's doing. What it's doing is it's allowing Mitch McConnell to say that he did something for the people. He helped the people out when they needed it. But he wasn't going to. He didn't want to. And even when he decided that he was going to, it's not like he gave you a full meal. You know what I'm saying? He gave you a Whopper Jr. We didn't even get a full Whopper. We didn't get no fries. We didn't get no drink. We didn't get no 4-piece of no freaking McNuggets or no chicken nuggets. We didn't get none of that. We got a Whopper Jr. Okay? We got a Wendy's Jr. We didn't get a full Wendy's. This is not a full meal. This is not stimulus. This is one and done. No help for the cities. Half support for unemployment. Half support for the individuals out there, the taxpayers. Half. And we sat here fighting and waiting on this for 5 weeks because of Mitch McConnell's insistence on adding legislation that would have basically prevented employers from being sued by their employees for not providing a safe workplace during the pandemic. Why is that important? If you're trying to stimulate the economy, then why is basically insurance litigation, or litigation insurance, I should say, why is that important? Why is it important to say, oh, let's make sure that these guys can't get sued? Because if you're thinking about them getting sued, then they must be doing something wrong. Because if they're not doing anything wrong, then was this just a corporate money grab? This is your way of just putting money into your boys' pockets? You know, we need this liability, basically, and liability coverage. We say, hey, you guys, you can't sue us. Hey, we gave you the job and you got sick here. That's on you. Okay? That was a huge sticking point. And he would not back down. He wouldn't. He wouldn't back down. But I'm going to tell you what happened. There was a price tag that Mitch McConnell and the Senate did not want to go beyond. Okay, they had set the number in stone because they could not and they will not ever condone giving the average citizen the same type of assistance they give wealthy Americans and corporations. So they could not possibly condone giving us another $1,200 stimulus check and $600 a week in unemployment benefits, because that would be too much like actually helping the little man. And that's not what it's all about. It ain't about helping us. So everything came in at half. And Mitch McConnell realized that, you know what? I'm going to have to put some money out there for these taxpayers. And even if I do $600, it's going to push it up to this much money. So he really had to acquiesce and back off of the liability thing he wanted. I'll call it a liability clause, because there was no money left. It wasn't like he said, okay, this is not really a good idea. I shouldn't have brought it up. No. It was, this is no more money left. This, I'm not going to allow this stimulus package to cost any more than this on my watch under this presidency. And so what happened was that the shopping list changed. Instead of the pandemic liability insurance, it became, we need these 2 seats in the Georgia Senate. We might want to throw a little crumbs out there, because apparently if your mouth is too busy eating, you can't talk. Or maybe you can't even think. So that's where we are. I've got my TV off right now. I normally switch between 4 or 5 different news stations. I started watching the news as a child, because that's what my father did. My father came home from work, took off his coat, grabbed a Miller High Life from the refrigerator, sat down in front of the TV, and turned on the news. And we didn't have multiple TVs back when I was growing up. Like I said, I'm 55. That wasn't no remote control TV. I was the remote control. He wanted the channel changed. Guess who got up and changed the channel for him? I did. Reception wasn't good. Who got up and adjusted them bunny ears? I did. So I watched what he watched. Walter Cronkite, back in the day. Anybody remember him? Oh yeah, been watching CBS News probably as long as I've been alive, damn near. They probably had me sitting in front of the TV even when I was a kid. But I've come a long way since then. I watch a lot. I'm not going to call them out because I'm suspect of the media too, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm just going to say that I'm not new to watching the news. And I don't get news from Facebook or Twitter or a social media platform. I don't just watch one news outlet. I make sure I cross reference. I even check what they're saying in other countries because everybody's perspective is different. So I'm a news watcher and I literally have my TVs off right now. Not watching a single channel because I'm so disgusted at this lack of effort, this excuse of a Congress and this handicap stimulus bill, because this is not real stimulus in my opinion. I don't see how this helps anyone. All I see this doing is uh, boosting popularity for the Republican Senate candidates in Georgia. That's all this is doing. This is about boosting popularity, getting more Republicans in the state of Georgia to come out and vote for Perdue and Loeffler. And by the way, when we were talking about people who enriched themselves and bought stock when they found out what was going on with the pandemic, Loeffler is one of those people. So we are there's pay to well, let me slow down. There's been pay to play at the White House before, but to me, not to this magnitude, not to the point where it's not just pay to play, but we got out and out extortion, literal extortion, and grifting. Grifting. Now, we can only get a $600 stimulus check from the government. But meanwhile, the government is allowed to send emails to John Q. Public and Jane Doe and say, hey, the election was stolen. And I need money to go to court to fight these legal battles. Please send me money. And then turn around and say, but if you don't send this much, 75% of what you send goes to this. My PAC, my Political Action Committee. And then I read that Mr. Kushner, old Jared, the Wonder Boy himself, helped Trump set up an offshore company with those funds to pay his own family. So I can't even get what I need. I can get $600, but you can grift millions of Americans and then turn around and enrich your family. And all this is done with the Senate majority that's sitting right there and the Speaker of the House as well. She knows what's going on. Nancy Pelosi, if there's anything we can say about her, the one thing we can't say is she's dumb. Because that's the one thing she's not. So where are we now? We are basically coming down the line to first base. I think the bat made a little contact with the ball, but we don't know yet. Is the stimulus going to pass? Probably, because there is not a senator or congressman right now or representative who wants to speak to their constituents and say, I didn't support this bill. It's like slapping them in the face. Your pain is not important to me. You don't deserve any money, and I'm not voting for it. So that's probably not going to happen because everyone, it's we're about to have the break. Congress going on the break. They couldn't get out of here fast enough. They're dying to get out of here. Like, yo, let's just pass this and let's just get the F out of Dodge. And when we come back, the transition will almost be over and the White House will be changing. So they're good. They're like, cool. We did a little something, say a little skin off our teeth. And now they're going to head for the hills. And in 14 and 21 days, most of us will get a $600 check. That won't do shit. It'll be after Christmas. It'll probably after New Year's. What you gonna do? You gonna put it toward January's rent? You gonna pay some back bills because you've been falling behind? You gonna try to go food shopping? What is $600 really gonna do? Anybody been to the supermarket lately? Do you shop for food, for groceries, for your family regularly? Because if you do, you have seen how the prices of the standard staple in the house has gone up. Kids ain't in school right now. They can't get those little free cartons of milk. But yet and still, the price of milk in the stores is going up. They can't get no free breakfast, but the price of eggs is going up. If you look at Eggos, and some little cinnamon toast, little things just waffles, toaster pancakes, little small stuff. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that they just give away at breakfast time in the schools. They ain't worth for like 60 cents. But go to the store and try to buy it right now for your kids because your kids can't go to school. They can't get a free breakfast and a free lunch. And now all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's an extra $5 to $6 a day. A day. Let's just say it's $5 a day. We take out 8 out of 30. Right? 2 weekends. We got 22. 5 times 22 is 110. And 110, let's just say 100. That's $1,200 over the year. And that's just a small meal per family that we now have to cover because kids are being schooled from home now. Not to mention the fact that they're not learning as well. So all across the board, the average American is suffering. Moms are pulling quadruple duty. And God bless all the women out there and all the mothers. This is an undue burden that should not have been thrust upon you. I don't care what your political affiliation is. This is just terrible right now. The kids aren't in school. They're not learning properly. In America, it has a poor education track record to begin with. And now these same people say, well, hell, you barely gave me an education in public school. And now you want me to try to teach my kids? This is crazy. I gotta teach my kids now. I gotta feed them, breakfast and lunch because they're home. Now I gotta do 5 meetings a week over Zoom. Everything has changed. We are about to get a new president. In 30 days, we will have a new president. $600. There is not a single one of us, unless you bank that entire $600 because you don't need it at all. If there's any one of us who needs that check, it will. I'm willing to bet it will be completely spent before the next president is sworn in, because it's not a lot of money. It's a drop in the bucket. Not designed to help us, designed to help politicians secure office. So that's the reason why it's so small, because it's just all it is. It's like a little pat in the butt. Say, hey, here's $600. Hey, don't forget to go to the polls. Don't forget to vote for Perdue and Loeffler. See, I gave you that money, right? Y'all wanted the money. I made sure you got it. Right? Now you do something for me. Now you make sure you go to the polls and you vote for Perdue and Loeffler. That's, to me, what this was about. Plain and simple. Nothing more, nothing less. So what do? Well, election's over. So we can't do anything about that. But I think what we need to do is that we need to wake up. I'm reminded of a Spike Lee movie. Because of copyrights, we can't say certain things, but we got to wake up. We have to become aware. Just today, I was talking to one of my coworkers, and they were talking about the vaccine. And he said, well, I don't want no giant-sized needle boring into my arm for some vaccine shot. I was like, what giant-sized needle? He was like, yeah, the needle that they get the shots with is so huge, and it's like a bore. I was like, no, it's not. I said, dude, did you even bother to watch any of the vaccinations? They vaccinated Mike Pence on TV. They vaccinated Joe Biden on TV, Sanjay Gupta on TV. I said, did you see those needles? No, he don't watch the news. No, but he's on Twitter, he's on Reddit, he's on Facebook, YouTube. And somehow, without any evidence, he was under the impression that the needle that they were giving these shots with was so huge. I don't even understand that. Okay, we're talking about DNA here. We're basically talking about genetic material. And all they're really doing with regard to the Pfizer vaccine anyway, is they're letting it thaw and mixing it with saline. That's it. That is all that they are doing. It is being allowed to thaw, be mixed with saline, get to the right temperature for efficacy, and then the shot is administered. It's not even a large shot. I think it's some micrograms. It's a very small shot, and it's 2 doses. Why would you need a large needle for that kind of a shot? But again, the misinformation machine is running full tilt. I don't understand how come it ain't overheated and broke down, because it's been running like a bat out of hell, but whatever. But the misinformation machine is in full effect. If you want to do anything for yourself, the best thing that anybody that can do for themselves right now is to wake up and educate yourself, not just about politics. Okay? Maybe you don't like cooking, but now you gotta cook. Learn how to cook. Learn how to make food because cooking is a heck of a lot cheaper than eating out. Educate yourself, become aware of what's going on. When you see something or read something, don't just check it and double check it. I mean, triple check it. Do like the Bereans from the Greek church. And most of you, if you ever even listen to this video and get this far, might question, who are the Bereans? Well, I'll just say this. Berean is spelled Berean. It is a lesson in the New Testament. If you're not familiar with it, I would suggest that you look it up because there's some interesting knowledge to be acquired by understanding the story that is related with the when speaking of the Bereans at the Greek church. So I appreciate you guys letting me kind of rant and rave and vent. I'm sorry that nobody came up on the panel. I don't normally do uh, these types of streams. This is not my thing. It could be, but I would rather just try to be more entertaining. This is a little too heavy for me for YouTube, for reaching out to people. I had to tonight because, like I said, this thing is just a joke, and I need to be on record as saying that Mitch McConnell, you didn't do shit for us. Nancy Pelosi, you didn't do shit for us either. Chuck Schumer, you didn't do nothing. You did nothing. You guys fought for a bigger package, and at the end of the day, you settled for fucking beans. Beans. There's no meat. It's just beans. People are going to get this little bitty small check and it's going to be gone and it will be like nothing happened because $600 ain't going to hit the economy. It ain't going to hit the economy. It'll hit the grocery store. Okay? It may hit a landlord's pocket. It'll probably hit utilities. But it ain't going into the economy. You ain't going to buy anything. No one's going to be able to go out and buy with a $600 stimulus check. Buy what? It's a joke. So I think we just need to be more informed. We should have understood what was going on, and we should have been more vocal with our elected leaders. Did anybody write a letter to their representative or their state senators saying that you don't agree with this paltry stimulus and that they need to fight for more? I know who my senators are in my state. I know who my representatives are too. I didn't write a letter. And now I have the nerve to be mad, but I didn't do anything. I sat back and watched this charade go down, pretty much knowing it was going to happen. And I did nothing. And that's too many of us. So I hope that we become more united and more aware of our situations. And so that we can put the type of pressure on to have positive outcomes from our own elected government officials so that they actually serve the people who put them in their jobs and gave them their jobs and stop just serving themselves and these special interests which allowed them to become more affluent. Appreciate you guys. This is your boy Technology. Your channel name is now Peabody's Laboratory, but this is still your boy Tech. This is going to do it for tonight's little rant and rave, I guess you want to call it. I might even change the name of it. I think I might just call it Rant and Rave. Yeah, I think I'm just going to call it that. And that's going to do it. I'm going to get set up and get ready to assume the mantle of the Loco Jarhead on Loco Jarhead Gaming and jump back into the Borderlands and continue the campaign. So thank you so much, everyone. I'll go ahead and get this processed and published. And Technology is going to change suits into Loco Jarhead, and we'll see you in the Borderlands. Have a great night. Thank you, and God bless.